In Parashat Shoftim, chapter 19, verse 14, it reads, "You shall not move the boundary of your fellow, which the early ones marked out, in your inheritance that you shall inherit, in the land that Hashem, your God, gives you to possess it." So the Hebrew reads, "Lo tasig gvul re'acha, asher gvulo Rishonim b'nachalatcha asher tinhal ba'aretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lecha lerishta." So what's this actually saying? When it says not to move the boundary, it says lo tasig. Tasig means, it basically means like it's related to the word nosugu, which means they backed away, which means that they're relocating the marker of someone's land to the rear, backwards, towards the. If you imagine somebody had a fence on the front of his land, and somebody moved this fence towards the rear, he would be making the boundaries of this person's land smaller. This is a law that's only applicable in the land of Israel. Of course, somebody shouldn't do this outside of the land of Israel. But how do we know that this is a law only related to the land of Israel? Because it tells us that the land that's been spoken of is a land that is this person's inheritance, that you will inherit, which implies, so the word for inheritance is nachala, and nachala, it means estate, property, inheritance. So it's basically a piece of land or it's property that you've inherited. So the inheritance spoken of is obviously the land that was allocated to this person within the land of Israel. And this land was marked out by the early ones, the Rishonim. And who are the early ones? These early ones, this previous generation, they are Yoshua. And Yoshua, as you know, was the person who took over after Moshe Rabbeinu. Moses died. Moshe was commanded by God that Yeshua would take over. Yeshua bin Nun, we're talking about. Yeshua bin Nun would take over after him, and Elazar was the Kohen at that time. So Yeshua, Elazar, Kohen, and the tribal princes, the leaders of the tribes, they were the ones who would allocate the land among the tribes. Now these allocations were never to be disputed, because these people, Yeshua bin Nun, Elazar Kohen, and the tribal leaders, these leaders would not make a mistake. So whatever they said, that was what it was, and it couldn't be challenged. And we have to bear in mind that these were huge people, and so the land that they allocated to people was precise and was exactly what the person was due to receive. And it was what they were given was basically perfect in its allocation.